Perfect. Well, welcome to our class. It's grammar day today, so we'll work on some present perfect continuous. I have some slides to look at for now, but first we'll have a little quiz, a pop quiz here. Can all three of you write me one sentence in the present perfect continuous tense, and we'll see what you know about it, how to use it, the structure, so any sentence. You have 30 seconds starting now. And I don't even have a watch, so. Or just type the sentence. Not going to say anything. I'm hoping you're all writing something for me.
I'm sorry, Becky, I didn't hear you.
No, can you write a sentence using the present perfect continuous tense? I'd like to see where everyone's level is. Or level, if you understand what it is. So that's your little test for today. Ken and Alex,
Present
are you
perfect continuous.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Alex says, I've been drinking a coffee. Okay. I'm not going to say if it's a good or bad example, but Ken, anything from you? And then Garrett says, well, I'd like a sentence. I bet you didn't expect a test today, the first part of class. Ken, are you writing something? A nice sentence for me? Oh, I've been learning English for years. Okay, and Garrett's, we're just waiting on you for an example.
Oh, that's so familiar that I've been waiting for you for a long time.
Okay, I've been waiting. Perfect. All right, so these are all perfect examples. Alex, actually your drinking is missing an N, which I just noticed, but that's okay. So yes, what we're doing in this tense is we have the verb have, then been, okay, and then the verb with ing. So three parts to this, okay? So what I'm going to do is start sharing my screen. I just have to make sure it's the correct one. All right, and this one, present perfect. All right, so just a moment. Why? Okay, here we go. Great, so 1 second. And share. Perfect. All right, so Garrett, I'm going to have everyone help me read today so I can speak a tiny bit less. That would be fantastic. Can you go ahead and read this for me, this page?
Sure. How's the present perfect continuous form? Have / has plus been plus ing. Example, I have been working all day.
Okay, good. So this works perfectly with your sentences. They have I have because that's easier to see the verb have there, but more commonly, as you've written in Garrett's, said I've, okay?
And contraction, you mean?
Right. Normally in English, we use the contractions all the time. It's just, I mean, why are we going to say a sentence with 5 words and we can use 4, for example? And then I think,
and Becky, I am told every time that people used to say that whenever we are on some formal places like giving our interview, so we have to use full forms, not contraction. Is that right?
Well, it depends for what. For example, if it's an interview for something important, I would still use contractions because that's normal. I mean, all natives use contractions. Now, for a writing test, I would say, or maybe something super formal, maybe you're applying for a job, sure, maybe I would not use contractions, but for example, you see, I am, I would say that's okay. But it is, I would definitely use it's. And I think this is more of a personal thing. I don't think this is anything, it has to be like this or it should be like this, as far as writing formally versus informally. Also, with
Even in formal
contractions,
writing, you use short forms, right?
yeah, you can, and it's okay. For example, I think I am, maybe in a formal letter, I would say I am and not I'm. But if you're writing to your friends, I'm, and nowadays we even have this text, language where, for example, you could say for example, I love you would be spelled like this, which you would never write in an informal situation. Definitely informal and for friends, probably, things like that. Okay. So we kind of have, like don't know, wanna. Today in one of my classes, someone had written the word kinda. And I said, I'm going to change that to kind of, because when written, we write kind of. When we speak or maybe even read kind of, we'll say kinda. Okay, so there is a difference
Yes.
sometimes between written English and spoken English.
Okay.
Do you have any other questions, Garrett?
No.
Any questions from Alex or Ken about
Yeah,
contractions? Mm-hmm.
maybe wanna gonna in the textbook in Japanese school, it's a kind of it's not a polite expression, but I think many native speaker using gonna, wanna, gotta, right? Actually,
Exactly. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's just how we speak because it's easier, you know?
right, exactly.
And then I think, are we being lazy? Because people have asked me, I'm like, well, it just makes sense to do something more efficient and something easier. Why make our life more difficult and, have to pronounce more clearly and things like that, which I have to do for my job. So,
Also, would have, should have. Is it correct? Would have, should have, would have,
mm-hmm.
should have, would have.
Woulda, shoulda, coulda.
Okay, I got it. Should have.
Mm-hmm. There was one that I think it's actually incorrect because many people think it's actually should have when it's actually should have. That's a common mistake with natives. They always think it's should of and not should have. Do you see what I mean? Okay. Ken does.
Yeah, should have, but
Good.
some native speaker misunderstood. Should have is should of.
Mm-hmm.
Should have, should have. Okay.
Yeah, because have, of, they end the same. And so when you say it quickly, oh, and Garrett has lots of these for us. Have to. and meet, meet. Okay, meet.
Like T is
Actually,
a little bit silent.
yeah. No, that's true. And for example, if I say, what are you going to do later? I'm probably going to say, what are you going to do later?
Yeah.
What are you gonna do later with a D? We'll put later. What are you gonna do later? Okay, so yeah, I mean, like you said, like I said earlier, spoken versus written is very different. Yep, give me that. Exactly. Let's see. Garrett, you had me going to gotta let me. Mm-hmm. I'm a I'm a mm-hmm. I'm out of here. Good. Yeah, lots of contractions. And like I said, it's just typical for natives to use these. So again, depending on the situation, I would never use any of these examples in a formal setting. Never. Okay. So good. And this even goes for pronunciation too. When you have to go to an interview or something like that, you need to pronounce clearly your words, because it's really nice to hear people speak so natively when they're not natives. However, it sounds a bit strange sometimes too, almost like, are you sure that you should be pronouncing it like that, Garrett?
Are we still allowed to say all those words as a contraction, like I have posted in here, while giving interview or doing something formally?
No, I wouldn't.
Yeah, it looks cheap. I think so.
It looks
No,
what?
like cheap, not disgraceful. I think. No,
Yeah, looks cheap. I don't know if that's an American saying or what, but that's cheap. Yeah,
no.
that's
Academically, I mean to say,
right. Mm-hmm.
like
You're
with friend,
definitely
we are all allowed to do so.
exactly.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, well, good. Perfect. All right, so conversation there. What I think we'll do is go to the next slide here, okay? Ken, can you read just this first part? Okay.
Okay. When is the present perfect continuous used? 1. For repeated actions with time expressions like lately, recently, all day, for ages. I've been reading a lot of books recently. I've been working non-stop all day.
Okay. So very good. Thank you. So for repeated actions and, with these words here. Okay. And so let's see if I can get back to your example sentences. Okay. So I've been drinking coffee is not the correct example for this repeated actions. I've been learning English for years. Yes. Okay. So, Ken, your example of I've been learning English for years is exactly this. It's something repeated. You've done it for many, many years. Here they have for ages, but of course, we can say for 10 years, for many years, for ages. Okay, so many different ways to say that. Any questions about these types of examples, this
If
meaning?
you if you say ages, usually how many years? 10 years or
Um, I think that's a Thomas question because I would never use for ages. I would say for a long time, which for a long time, depending on the person, just like there's a word in Spanish as well. It basically means some time, but you never you
Mhm.
never express how long. So
Okay.
I think it just depends. But for ages, for many years, for years,
Mhm. I see. Okay.
I don't know. I would say minimum 3 to 5 minimum. And Garrett's for decades, absolutely for decades as well. Perfect. All right. So if there aren't any more questions, Garrett's, do you have a question?
No.
Okay. Good. Well, in that case, why don't we have Alex go ahead and read this part for us, okay?
Okay. For continuous actions that have recently finished but have a present result. She's been crying. Her eyes are red. I've been running around the pot. I'm so tired.
Okay, good. This is probably the park with a K, not part. So good. And they have in parentheses these kind of examples of how we can tell something has happened. Just like, for example, Alex, your sentence from before, I've been drinking a coffee. All right, so you started drinking and you're probably still drinking it, or at least in the moment that you wrote this sentence. Okay, so that's a good example. So really great examples. Okay, any questions with this part? Probably not. All right, good. So,
Around
mhm.
around the part. Exactly meaning I want to know.
This is, I mean, it should be park with a K.
Oh, that's why I'm confused.
Mm-hmm. Yes, this is all of these presentations were done by someone that Thomas knows. And so if there's any mistakes, they're not mine, actually. So, all right, good. All right, so
May I ask?
yeah, absolutely.
I don't understand why we can use present perfect. simple.
For which example?
For for example, she has cried,
Okay.
like something like this, or
Mm-hmm.
I've how it's run around the park. I think for me it's similar. I don't understand where I can when I have to use continuous or when simple.
Okay. So good question. For example, when she's cried, it makes me feel that she recently cried maybe, but that she's not continuing to do the action. Does that make sense? She's cried. It's a little bit difficult to explain. Um, it doesn't make it seem that she's still crying. Does that make
If so,
sense?
if someone is continuously crying, so we can say she is crying, or but if someone is crying for a long time and still the person is crying, so he or she has been crying, still
Yeah, there's the
crying from
duration.
the past.
That she started in the past. And normally, for example, in some cases, there's no difference. For example, I've lived or I've been living. Okay, there's no difference between those. And it sounds like, for example, she's cried that she's done crying, that she has finished. Even though
Yes.
we can see that her eyes are red, okay, even if it's the same situation, the action of her crying has finished. Okay, and exactly, Ken.
Yes, sorry. How about if I say
Mhm.
she was crying, but now she was fine? What is the difference between she's been crying and she was crying?
Okay, so she's been crying and she was crying.
Yes.
If we take this into context, I would say she's been crying all morning.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so she's still continuing to cry. She
Mm-hmm.
was crying is when you're talking about a specific moment in the past. Just like any continuous, the present continuous, for example, is when we're doing something in the moment. So I'm speaking now.
Mm-hmm.
She was reading yesterday at this time. For example, it's a specific moment in the past.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm, not
does that make
like
sense?
yeah, not like she was crying, maybe not now, somewhere in the past, not,
Exactly.
but present continuous form, she was crying right before this war. That kind of connotation.
Um, yes, she's
Okay.
been crying as now. She started in the past and she's continuing to cry. She was
Mhm.
crying in the past at a specific time. And we also have she had been crying, which is the past perfect continuous. She had been crying is that she was crying for a long time. And
Mhm.
so we obviously need more context here, but she had been crying all morning, for example.
Mm, I see. Very
Okay.
complicated. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, thank you very
exactly.
much.
Very specific. Alex, you commented first must have the relationship with percent. Can you explain what you wrote there, Alex?
Uh, it's for Ken question about she's been crying. I think it's must relation for present, but she was crying. It's maybe in long time and not has relation with present time.
Okay, yep. She was crying means it's in the past, and it doesn't have anything to do with now.
I want to ask you one more question.
Mm-hmm.
I heard the how it's case for use present continuous when we want to emphasize some result. Why her eyes is red? Because she's been crying. But if we use she was crying, we want to emphasize for action, not for result.
Ah, okay.
Correct?
Yes. Yeah, that when she was crying, it was in the past, and we're talking about that action. Now, the result we can mention or not, and depending on the context. Interesting. Great questions today. Anything else that you'd like to ask before I continue? Okay. All right. Well, let me go to the next one here. I think we're back to Garrett's. So, Garrett's, can you please read this slide for me?
Fine. In the question using how long, and in a response using for instance to say that an action started in the past and is still happening now. In living here, I've been living here for 10 months. How long has she been going out with that guy? She's been going out with him since 2012.
Okay. So, very good. Any questions here?
No.
No? All right. Well, for some of those that might be interested, my little trick to remember when to use for and since, for example, for sounds like the number 4. Okay. So we use for with numbers. Okay. And since, I take the S and I say specific. Specific. Time, for example, the year. Okay. Does that make sense? That's my little trick. If you already have your own, that's fine, but that's how I try and help people remember when to use for and since. Okay? And then, of course, we also have for ages, as we said before, for many years. So instead of an actual number, there is, kind of numbers involved with those. It's multiple, many. Okay? And we can count those. Any questions with the sentences on this slide? No?
No.
All right, well, that's fantastic. So why don't we go to this one? Ken, I think it's your turn. Ken, why don't you go ahead and read the bold and then the rules, okay?
Okay. Decide which rule each sentence belongs to. Write the correct number 1, 2, 3. Rules. 1. Repeated actions with certain time expressions. 2. Past actions with a present result. 3. As a response to how long questions.
Okay, good. And Alex, can you please read the sentences and then after we will decide if it's 1, 2, or 3, okay?
Okay, he's been sunbathing. I've been watching TV all day long. I've been working as a teacher for many years.
Okay, good. So for the first one, he's been sunbathing. Which number do we think it is? 1, 2, or 3?
I think it's 2.
Okay. Past actions with a present result?
I think.
Okay. Alex is the same thing. Ken, what do you think?
I don't know 1 or 2. I lost.
Okay. And why are you doubting?
Certain time but it's not a certain time expression. So 2, yeah.
Okay, good. So past action with a present result. Good. He's been sunbathing. You can tell because he's tan, for example. Okay. In the second one, it says, I've been watching TV all day long.
Third, I think.
Oh, you think the third? Ken, what do you think? You also think 3.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So as a response to how long questions. So what would our original question be? If this is our answer, what's the original? How long?
Have you been watching TV?
Good. Perfect. All right. And the third one, I've been working as a teacher for many years, is obviously number.
Wow.
All right. Good. Everyone at the same time. Perfect. So it's a repeated action with certain time expressions. For many years in this case, and it's something that you've done many times. It's a repeated action. Perfect. All right, so any questions here?
Two or three, I think is interchangeable. If I ask how long have you been working as a teacher,
Mm-hmm.
so maybe 2 or 3 could be 1. I mean, no, 3. Sorry.
Okay. I see what you mean because I originally thought number 3 here as a response to how long questions that this was a correct answer. I've been working as a teacher. But this as repeated actions is, I mean, even though you've been watching TV, it's a repeated action, I suppose, for that day. And because it doesn't specify, it has to be for a long period of time, I suppose, looking at, looking at this, yeah. Watching TV all day long. And we're even using all day. So we're using a time expression. So I think number 1 could also go for number 2.
Okay,
Good?
I see. Yes.
Any
So
questions?
answer is not only one in this case.
Which one?
Like teaching is also a repeating action.
Mm-hmm. And also is watching TV.
Yes.
Yes.
And repeated action could also be he's sunbathing. However, we don't have the time expression in this one. So that's why that one's not correct. But yes, I could see there's meaning in both of these, all right? So good. Any other questions?
And no, just tell us the right answers.
Well, those were the correct answers. Because I didn't invent this, repeated actions with certain term expressions, I believe this is the one that is correct because it's a teacher. So your repeated action is being a teacher. However, we could also ask, how long have you been working as a teacher?
Right.
Excuse me. So both are kind of correct. Are you not satisfied,
Becky,
Gary? Yes.
do you have some honey right now? If you have, you can take it 1 tablespoon because you are feeling some trouble
No,
in your throat.
I actually hate honey, and I don't think we
Oh,
have any, but but thanks, Garrett. Not my favorite. I do have some cough drops that I can. I'm suffering through this class today, but I'll be fine. Don't worry. But thank you, Garrett, for worrying about me. Other questions about this? So yes, I think 1 and 3 from above are fine for 2 and 3 below. Okay. All right, I don't hear any other questions. So let's go to this next one. Same thing. Let's see if we can do this together. Garrett, can you go ahead and read the bold part and the rules, and then I'll have Ken read the second part, okay?
Okay. I just have to read rules.
Well, the decide which rules, the rule.
Decide which rule each sentence belongs to. Write the correct number 1 to 3. Rules. Number one is repeated action with certain time expressions. Past actions with the present result. Number 3 as a response to how long questions.
Okay, good. And Ken, the sentences, please.
Okay, number 1, he's been playing sport ever since I can remember. Number 2, she hasn't been talking to me much lately. Number 3, my husbands are a bit dirty because I've been gardening.
All right, good. So yes, I've been gardening.
My hands, sorry, I said husband. My hands are a bit dirty. Yeah.
That's okay. Well, husband can work in that case too, I suppose. But that's fine. All right, good. So, the first sentence, he's been playing sport ever since I can remember. Which rule do we think goes with this one?
Can I?
Mm-hmm.
Number 1. Yes, number 1.
Okay, and Ken, what do you think?
Actions with present. Since I can remember. The response to number 3 is not the option. Two or 1. I'm not sure. Maybe 1, because since I can remember, sounds like 1.
Yeah, I like number 1 in this case too. Repeated action, so he has played sports for a very long time, and then the certain time expressions since I can remember. So a very long time. Definitely agree with that one. The past actions with the present result, not really, not in this case. Okay. And then yeah, the how long I don't agree with. I suppose I can agree with the how long questions. Yeah, how long has he been playing sport? Ever since I can remember. So it's not really a direct question, or a direct answer, I should say, but I could see the how long question. All right.
Possibility.
Yeah, exactly. All right, good. So for number 2 below, we have, she hasn't been talking to me much lately.
That number 2 is for number 2.
Number 2 is for number 2. Okay. Past action with the present result. Ken also thinks so. Alex? Maybe Alex doesn't want to answer. Number 2. You don't know. Okay. How long? I'm not. I'm going to agree with Alex on this one. I know we use number 1, but repeated actions with a certain time expression. Maybe
number 2.
I know, but I'm trying to look at all the options here. The number 1 above might make sense because if you're not talking, the repeated action is not talking. Past actions with a present result, I prefer for number 3. And as a response to how long questions, how long hasn't she been talking to you, for example, I suppose could work. Alex is going to become an English teacher one day with her grammar. Repeated time expression. I almost like number 1 above for number 2 below as well. Let's look at number 3 below. Okay, so my hands are a bit dirty because I've been gardening. This to me is a past action with a present result. Your hands are dirty. We see that in the present now because in the past you were working in the garden. So that's why I like number 2 above for 3 below. What do we think here? Garrett's?
For me, I would say number 3, because I'm just looking for the most obvious clues and answers, and like how long have you doing this work or gardening?
Well, they're actually saying that
Maybe
they've
I'm
been
wrong.
gardening. They're answering why their hands are dirty.
Right. Then I think this is number 2.
Yes. Yeah, I would say I think 3 below is number 2 above. Ken, what do you think here?
Yeah, maybe 2. Yeah, 2 is the most
For number
appropriate
3, right?
answer. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 3 to 2. Yes. Number 3 to 2. Past
And number
action
3
with
is for number 2.
yes.
Number 3 above
Past
for 2 below.
actions with the present result.
Yeah. I mean, even number 3 above would work for number 1 below. How long has he been playing sport? Or how long hasn't she been talking to you? So they both work for that. However, I like number 1 for number 1 better. And I think that's it. Sometimes it's the process of elimination because one fits a different one better. So I think that might be the situation here. Okay, any other comments before we move to the next slide?
Nope. All are sorted.
I have, for example, 1 is for 1. I'm playing a sport for long, I can't remember. And then number 2 above is for 3 below, and then 3 is for 2.
Okay.
All right, good. I like these discussions.
Yeah, me too.
All right. Okay, now this gets more difficult here. It says decide which one is correct, the present perfect simple or the present perfect continuous or both. All right, so Alex, please read number 1. Oh, Alex disappeared. Just as I went away. Okay, that's fine. So Garrett, as long as you're unmuted, can you please read number 1?
Okay.
I have. You want to say something, Ken?
No. Go ahead.
Okay. Number 1, I have eaten all day / I've been eating all day. Should I tell you the answer?
Well, tell me what you think. Yeah.
For me is B. I mean present perfect continuous. Yes. PPC.
Okay, so this one. I have been eating all day. And Ken, do you agree or disagree?
Agree.
Why?
Because of the form is have plus being, and gerund is present perfect. Present perfect continuous form.
Good. All right. Well, I'm going to agree because they're talking about this past action starting this morning, probably, or the first time you ate, until now. Even though if you're eating in this specific moment, but it's continuous all day. And this day will only finish at midnight, well, 11:59 basically. Okay? So yes, I have eaten lunch, maybe, but I've eaten all day, I would not say. Garrett, did you want to say something?
Yeah, like God forbid if I do this on regular basis, so I would definitely use I eat all day.
Yeah, I eat all day, every day, for example.
Right. Every day, and I eat up. Okay, right.
Good. Ken, can you read number 2 for us?
I have just run a marathon. I have been running a marathon. And what should I answer?
Yeah.
Which one is correct? One is not correct. One expression is not correct.
Okay, so it has to be The present perfect continuous is what
Yes.
you're saying. All right, Garrett, what's your opinion?
I don't know. I mean, sorry. I confused the correction because I have just run a marathon. Can I say that? It's wrong sentence? Is it wrong sentence?
Well, you can
No,
say that.
Yeah.
Oi, what?
Well,
Garrett,
what
tell me,
should I
tell
no,
me.
choose?
it's not. I said it's not a wrong
Okay.
sentence.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a correct sentence. We have our verb have and then our the past participle here.
So this is
Reason
a
just.
present perfect simple and
Correct. And present perfect
yeah,
continuous over here.
yes.
So your final answer, Ken, is
Huh? So still I
simple,
confused. The first
continuous, or both.
sentence is present perfect and second contest
Yes.
present perfect continuous. So how
Yes,
can
and
I
which one's?
choose which is correct one?
Well,
Because I think both
both
are
could also
correct.
be correct.
Yeah.
Both.
Yeah. Oh, okay, I got it. Yeah, D. Yeah, D. Sorry.
We have another column here. Garrett, what do you think?
For me, it's just present perfect simple.
Okay, and why?
Like, it doesn't sound right for me. I've been running a marathon. I've just run a marathon is okay for me. It sounds right.
Okay, well, I'm actually going to say both. I've just run a marathon is fine because if you just finished, like in the past half an hour, I think that would be fine. And I've been running a marathon without context, it sounds strange. If I say I have been running a marathon, well, no, today, maybe. I've been running a marathon today. Now it's sounding strange to me as well. However, I've been running a marathon maybe unless you're actually still running, you wouldn't say this. Wow, when I went from both to now, I think I just like the present perfect simple one. I'm running a marathon. We need context here. It doesn't sound perfect without context. So I'm going to leave it with that, okay? It is, I'm sure it's possible to use in some context, okay?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Satisfied?
Right.
Good. All right. So I'll read this last one here. It says, "You look sad. Have you cried? Have you been crying?" Which one do you think is correct? Simple, continuous, or even both?
I think continuous.
Okay, Garrett, any suggestions?
Right. For me too.
Okay.
PPT.
Yep. Have you been crying? Definitely sounds better here. You look sad, so it's still something that's in this moment. It's continuing. Have you cried this morning, for example? That you could say, but in this case, I do like this one better. All right, and we also have this one, so we'll continue here. 4 is how long have you studied there? How long have you been studying there?
Hello. Your voice is breaking up.
It is. Hi, Ismail. Nice to see you.
Hi, Rebecca. Nice to see you.
Yeah,
How are
you
you?
too.
How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Allergies are bothering me today, but besides that, I'm fine.
Thank you. Thank you. It's fine.
Okay, so
When I saw you, when I hear your sound. Okay.
very good. Garrett,
Thank you.
can you still hear me okay? It was probably just when he entered.
Okay. Yes, I can now.
Okay. So for number 4, do we have any suggestions?
Oh, my system got hanged. I can't see the screen.
No? How long have you studied there? How long have you been studying there?
Sorry Rebecca. Merhaba. Sol internetteyim vallahi. Sorry.
That's okay, no problem. All right, so which one do we think is the correct answer for number 4?
For me,
You
how
ask.
long have you been
Sorry.
studying GIS?
How
Sorry,
long?
it's not my question. One more question.
Well, it's fine. How long have you been studying that? I believe sounds better.
Yes.
Because it's still we're using the present tense here and it's still happening. So I would say this one sounds best. Now for number 5, it says I've already finished my homework or I've already been finishing my homework.
Sorry, a lot of noise coming to this panel. Please mute the mic.
Yeah, I'm just about to do that. There we go. Okay. Good. So number 5, I've already finished my homework. I've already been finishing my homework. Okay. Does either one of these sound better?
I think I would say I've already finished my homework.
Yep, exactly. And this is because it's finished. The action has finished. You're not continuing to do something and saying that you've finished it already. So I would definitely agree with that. Number 5. This one is correct. Okay. Ismail, I'm just going to mute you because there's some background noise there. Okay. And let's see here. Number 6, I haven't tried it yet, or I haven't been trying it yet. Any suggestions here? I haven't tried it yet. I haven't been trying it yet.
I haven't tried it yet. Sounds fine too.
Exactly. I haven't tried it yet because you can't continue to do something if you've never done it. Okay. So very good. Let's see. So I'm just going to stop sharing the screen for a moment. Oh, Garrett's left. She must be having some problems. We're also out of time for the day. So I loved all of the questions today. Fantastic conversations about grammar. Ismail, nice to see you as always. And Ken, thank you for your participation today. Very good.
You're welcome. Thank you
All
very
right.
much.
You're very welcome. Ismail, you can unmute yourself now if you want to say goodbye. That's fine. Hopefully, I will see all of you on Saturday and or Sunday. I have classes Saturday and Sunday, which Thomas should put up very soon. I'll send him a little friendly reminder to do that. So
Okay,
wonderful.
thank you very much.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.